Okie dokie, we're actually live now. Okay, so the guys have set the banker laps at the moment. So, just go through the order. We've got Finn at the pole at the moment, Matthias a 10th behind, and Joe Alonso Limitless, who's on his wheel now, I think. Stone 6th, Carl Mitchell 7th, Cyril Hamilton 8th, Evo Reynolds 9th, and everyone else is coming back into the pits. So, after all of that palaver, we're all here just before the start of the race and just to make it in time for the end of qualifying. So again, it's just me at the moment. No Diablo once again, unfortunately. Nothing I can do about that. But yeah, it looks like everyone's back in the pits. I think Hamilton, he's on an in lap, lockdown. Oh, he's going for it. So we'll stick on board with him, see what he can do. And he's boxed. Right. So we've got Evo going around the track at the moment. Okay, you want the audio turned up? Okay. It's up a fair amount now. Hopefully you can hear the game audio. So Evo making his way through the middle sector now. He's not done a decent lap so far from what we'd expect of him. 43.9, about almost a second off the pace of the Flying Finn. And I think at this... No, he's in lean at the moment. I was going to say at this point he'd struggle to get around for another attempt. So he's in lean. I reckon he's going to box as soon as possible. I think we've got a couple of people just about to come out. I think the Flying Finn's just coming out now. Just coming out his garage. So it would be nice to see him on board. And again, not much to see at the moment. Okay, strategy from the front runners. I'm guessing it's going to be ultra soft, and then it's going to be a one stop. Put it that way. I'm pretty sure it'll be ultra soft, super soft. But maybe someone will box really early and go for softs. Who knows? It all depends. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a one stop anyway, unless it rains, of course. That could very likely happen around here. So Finn just setting up on his lap here. I think we're going to have a pretty titanic end to qualifying here with all these guys on their laps. Interestingly, with Spa and with the slipstream, it might not be the most advantageous thing to start on pole position because of the slipstream that you'll get if you're first out of La Source. So the car behind and even the car behind that will get a tremendous slipstream up Eau Rouge and down the Camel Straight that it might actually compromise the pole position person a lot. Just for getting that pole position, so I think maybe Matthias might be in the best spot at the moment. But anyway, Finn's just starting his lap now. He's the first one round, and I think he will likely, he's just timed it right, if he doesn't muck this lap up, that he will have another attempt. Just shifting it into first gear then just to get the car rotated in at La Source. And now it's going to fly flat out through Eau Rouge, pretty simple here. Clipping the inside curve nicely on both apexes there. And again just flat out, opening his DRS. Down the Camel Straight. Again, it seemed pretty solid. It's a very simple first sector. The only real time gain or loss is La Source. And you've got to really attack these curbs through Les Combes at the moment. And getting nicely on the X here. Braking as the curb starts on the left there. Easy to lock up that front right. Holding the inside there. And using as much curb as possible there. Kind of a bit oversteery there for him. Didn't really hit the apex of the no-name corner now, but P1. 7th gear, I think that was pretty much flat out for him. Lots of grip there. And making his way through the middle sector now. Ooh, a little bit wide there. Just managed to keep it on the track there. And again, onto the back straight now. Through Blanchimont flat out. And now into the bus stop. Braking about 100 meters. Hitting his apex nicely there for the first one and the second one. Careful on the traction as he gets out of the final corner. Opening up the DRS. Coming towards the line. It's a 42.7 there. Can Matthias respond to that? So we know he's mighty quick over one lap. So it will be very interesting to see if he can respond flat out through Blanchimont. ESR Stone's just gone third with a 43.3. So Matthias brakes down into the bus stop there. Hit both apexes pretty nicely. Flat out the final corner, opening up his DRS. What's the time? So 42.9. So, well, at the moment, Flying Finn's on pole, and he's, well, he hasn't got another lap. He's going in lean. Just waiting. We've got Alonso through P1 at the moment. He's the next one to challenge. As you've got yellow flags in sector 2 and 3 there. Very interesting. Alonso's missing his apex slightly there, running wide, and that's probably going to ruin his opportunity there. And the Limitless is retired there. He's in P7 at the moment. And Alonso backs out. We've got Joe coming towards the line here. What's he going to do at 43.1? That puts him P3. Just sneaks it ahead of Stone there. We've still got Langman on a lap. He's into the bus stop. Missing both apexes there. Not the right way to take that. Opening up the DRL. He's actually backed out of that, I think. Still got Evo on a lap here. He's coming through Blanchimont. Coming up towards the bus stop here. Braking very, very late there. Clipping that apex nicely. And coming out the final corner there. Bit of oversteer. Opening up the DRS. Coming across the line. That is 43.4. So up into P6 there. And that's the end of qualifying. Finn's still going around on an in-lap. Really can retire at the moment. But there we go. That was the end of a very short qualifying session there for you guys. But unsurprisingly, once again, the Flying Finn is on pole. But as I've said, it may not be the most advantageous position, given the slipstream, or, well, if it works on this game. He could very well be easily challenged and overtaken by Matthias through the first sector of the first lap. So that was the end of qualifying. It's going to be a very interesting race. Especially with the potential for rain, we don't know yet. And there we go, the results of qualifying there. Finn on pole, Matthias in second, the only two in the 142s. And Joe with a really solid qualifying session there in P3, and he'll be looking to follow that through for a good race result. Limitless down there in 8th, first AOR league race on the wheel. With the 43.5, 8/10 off the flying Finn there. And I think it was raining just a little bit there towards the end of qualifying there on that screen. So, could that be foreshadowing what's going to happen in the race? Ooh, well, yes it is. It's actually raining. So, well, isn't that interesting? It could. It looks like intermediates at the moment. But again, it could dry up. It could get even worse, or it could stay the same. Who knows? So the guys are on the grid now, all readying up. I think Matthias is going to be once again pretty upset about this, because he's not brilliant in the wet, and that's his main weakness. But again, hopefully he can challenge the flying Finn, or someone can, in case we get another repeat of Hungary where it was just him running away with it. But Matthias up the front now should be able to challenge, you'd expect. So here we go. 5 red lights. And lights out, and away we go. Doesn't really matter too much about the start for these guys, as Joe's all over the place there. Stone with a decent start. And looking up the inside of Finn there. But pretty handy at the moment. No real issues or contacts here. And I think right at the front there, that's Matthias is going to go side by side with a flying Finn. One of them's going to have to back out here, surely. It's raining. And Matthias takes the lead up Rouge there with an awesome move. And now Finn's going to be in the slipstream on the Kemmel straight. Can he get past Matthias here? Matthias is going to be holding the inside line. But Limitless retires from the session. I'd love to go back and have a look what happened there, but Matthias at the moment just defends the inside line. He's gone slightly deep there. And they're all on ultra softs, actually. I'd be expecting them to be on inters, but they're on ultra softs. I've just noticed that. And Finn's shot just hung it around the outside of Matthias then, retakes the lead. And Stone's just really hit Alonso there. He's taking a dive bomb up the inside there, but that's an awesome battle for the lead there. Going to go back to Limitless, and he's lost his wheel there. So I'd imagine he's completely lost it at the top of Rouge, but he is gone from this race, and he has left the session there, unsurprisingly. That's not gone well for his first league race on the wheel, but Matthias is hounding the back of the flying Finn at the moment. It's very, very interesting that they're all on dry tyres. Of course, Matthias takes a look at the inside there, and he's drifting it round, and Stone and Alonso are also battling at the moment. But I really want to keep an eye on this battle for the lead. It's going to be so interesting. Is anyone going to pit for inters? It's raining, so you'd think it would be a sensible option. I don't know why they've all started on ultra softs, but weird things have happened in this game. So they're still flat out through Blanchimont. There's a bit of a wiggle there for both of them on the exit there, but they're starting to pull away from ESR's Stone there. And Finn going slightly deep into the bus stop there, but Matthias is going to still be nailed to his gearbox. Look at the battle there. I think they're 4 wide behind there. We've got Evo, Stone, Alonso, Joe all involved in this little scrap for the podium position here. The 2 Red Bulls are going side by side. That's going to end in tears. A 3 wide into the source there. That didn't end well, but I'm going to go back up to the front here. Take a look at Matthias and the flying Finn. Matthias is going to be in the slipstream here. Finn should just hold it to the inside. And he does. Not much Matthias can do other than go to the outside here and try and outbrake him. So here we go. It's not a brilliant camera angle, that, is it? So Finn defends the inside there. Matthias trying to get an alternate line, some sort of switchback as Kyle Mitchell retires from the session there. Matthias trying to take a wider line, get a switchback again. It's not happened. Jason with a 5-second stop go for corner cutting there. I'd imagine he's gone straight on at Les Combes. But again, I don't think there's going to be too much overtaking here. Let's just take a look down the field to see what's happening here. Got lockdown in P6, so he's had a decent start there. Surprise down in 10th. Joe, awful start. He started in P3 and he's now down into 11th. EVR Reynolds 12th, and Langman with more front wing damage That's a common sight there. Same with Reynolds, he's got wing damage as well, so unfortunately they've been unable to keep it out of the wars there. Simon with some wing damage as well. And I guess it's pretty tricky for all these guys. Jason's on the super soft tyre, as is Lockdown. Don't know if that's going to make a difference given the rain. Back up to the leaders now. Matiz is slightly losing touch with the flying fin, but the gap is still only half a second. While there's a little lull in the action here, I did actually do a sprint mode race the other day where it was this exact weather. It was sort of raining, but the Ultras were the fastest tyre, so as Finn goes very, very deep into the bus stop, Matiz has got an opportunity now. He clips the back of Finn there as he tried to switch back, I think, but yeah, interestingly, we're in that sprint mode race, we were in these conditions, but the Ultras were fastest throughout the entire race. It was only 5 laps, but well, it could be very telling for what the strategy could be in this race. You think if it gets heavier and heavier, they're going to have to switch to Inters eventually, but Ultras is the fastest tyre at the moment, I'm pretty sure. So there goes Matiz through Eau Rouge there, a little bit of a wiggle once again. He's going to be in the DRS of the flying fin at the moment, who defends the inside line once again. Here they come side by side down the Kemmel straight towards Eau Rouge. Can Matiz outbrake him? There's contact there. Matiz turned in and Finn made contact with him there, but Matiz has just managed to keep that there. I think there was just about enough room given there. They both stayed on the track, so well, Matiz has made himself the race leader now with that move on the flying fin. Pretty difficult move to make in these circumstances around the outside of the flying fin, and Lockdown is up to P4. He's sniffing a podium. He's got STSF1 Alonso just in front of him, and Lockdown is doing really well in these conditions here. And he's right up behind Alonso now, and I think, despite him being on the super softs, I think he really has got some solid pace here. He's looking up the inside of Alonso. What I really want to see from Lockdown is just a bit of patience, a bit of consistency here, because he can really cement this position if he just gets past Alonso, because Alonso seems to be struggling in comparison. So we've got Evo behind who's getting hounded by Jason. So maybe these super softs seem to be working a bit better than the Ultras in these conditions for whatever reason. Lockdown right on the back of Alonso. I'm not sure if Matiz and Finn are any closer. No. So let's take a look here. Lockdown is the closest guy with an opportunity to overtake. He goes to the inside here of the bus stop. Just enough room left by Alonso there. And defends that position nicely as they come out the final corner. Lockdown squiggling side by side. He's got that DRS. But Alonso again once again up the inside here. Lockdown's going to try around the outside. He's locked up though. And Alonso once again holds that position. But surely Lockdown's in a great position. He's pushing Alonso down this straight here. He's have to lift a little bit as he does. And this is probably going to be his best opportunity to overtake. A little bit wide there. He goes over the top of the curb. He'll surely have a warning for that. And look at the cars behind him though. This is NLR Evo right behind. He's in the slipstream with his DRS. He's got Alonso here. He's going to have to lift off there. He's sort of boxed in at the moment. As Lockdown out breaks Evo around the outside. They're still going to be side by side through Les Combes here. And we've got Jason just behind having to back out there. There's a four-way scrap for the podium here in these conditions. This is very, very interesting. Lockdown looks to the inside of Alonso here. Alonso's run wide. This is Lockdown's chance to get a podium position here. And Alonso backs out of it. Lockdown is into P3 now. And he runs wide there. Just keep it out of the wall. And as does Alonso. Evo's going to be up this inside of him as well. Into P1. Surely Alonso's going to have to back out of this. And well, look who's behind Alonso now, as Alonso takes a look at the inside of Evo here, but Jason's right behind both of them as well. Will the two Williams drivers keep their battle going from Hungary, as there was a bit of contact with Evo and Alonso, sent Alonso slightly wide, putting a bit of oversteers. Alonso very harsh with Jason there, not giving him much room at all, but Jason's up the inside here. They're still going to be side by side onto the back straight here, and this has been, well, quite frankly, an awful lap for Alonso. He started in P3, he's now down to P6 after all of that. But yeah, these two Williams guys could very well have a round 2 for their battle last time out in Hungary in somewhat similar conditions. But very interestingly, the gap from Evo to Lockdown is already over a second, so if Lockdown can keep this pace going, he could very well beat him with a good shot of a podium. The gap, P1 and 2 Matiz, is somewhat pulling away from the flying Finn at the moment. Finn seems to really be struggling. sliding all over the place there into turn 1 anyway. But I think this is Lockdown's best opportunity now to get a podium. I'd love to see that. But here we go, Jason's real close to the back of Evo at the moment. I wonder if anyone's bothered to pit for Inters. Maybe, well, Langman and Reynolds have had, I guess, wing damage and they've had no other choice and thought to gamble it. But I'm pretty sure, given DRS is still active, it's still dry tyres. And here we go, Jason powering himself past NLR Evo here. Can he make this move stick into Lake Common? He's already passed him. I think Evo's backed out of that one quite a while ago. So this could be Lockdown's main threat for the podium here. Jason, we know he's a very consistent driver and he's on the same tyres as Lockdown. I think the Supers seem to be working better than the Ultras in these conditions. So I don't think anyone else is on. We've got Simon on softs somehow, but he's got wing damage, so we're not going to be able to tell his true pace there. Stone somehow down in P8 after all that, after a good qualifying position with a bit of wing damage as well. Surprise also with the ultra softs on his car. Same with Joe and Langman on Inters, and I don't think it's the right tyre at the moment despite the rain. So yeah, Matthias is starting to pull away from the flying Finn now, which you're really not going to hear me say too much because obviously Finn is a very, very fast driver, but Matthias seems to have the upper hand at the moment in these conditions. And I want to keep a look on the gap between Lockdown and Flying Finn, because wouldn't that be something if Cryo Lockdown could close down the Flying Finn and overtake him, and then get a McLaren 1-2? Maybe I'm being a bit ambitious there in my hopes, as Simon gets a 3-second penalty, but well, it would be very, very interesting, wouldn't it? As we've got Alonso coming into the pits here, I wonder what this is for. Surely not for Inters. It's still dry. I think there's still DRS being activated, and that if he goes on to Inters, I think it could ruin his race. But he's pitting now for Super Softs. It would be interesting if he could take these to the end of the race. Maybe there's a weather report though that he's heard that we haven't. But that would be very interesting. The Flying Finn is now 3 seconds behind Matthias, so I think he's made a mistake somewhere. Because Lockdown's now only 2.3 behind. Well, isn't this interesting? Finn's made a mistake there and all of that, and now Lockdown's closer to Finn than Finn is to Matthias, so I think Lockdown's got some genuine pace here. I think he's pulling away from Jason at the moment, and Evo's somewhat keeping up with Jason, but it does look like the Super Soft seems to be the better tyre in these conditions. And Lockdown, yeah, is closing down the Flying Finn. The gap is now less than 2 seconds. And I can't imagine what's going through Lockdown's head at the moment. Closing down the Flying Finn. He'll be very excited, but I think he'll be a little bit nervous at the same time, because I don't remember the last time this season he was so far up the grid. He may not have been this far up the grid at all. He is a one-time race winner back in Season 9 in USA. But I think the competition here is much, much stronger. And he'll be feeling the pressure, definitely, given that he's in such a good place. The gap is now only 1.1, 1.2 seconds now, and he's really closing that gap down. And if you're Finn now, you're thinking you're going to have to be doing something different. I think Alonso's pit, and, well, he'll be giving Finn information, I'm guessing, given their brothers, about the tyres. But Finn's chosen to stay out, and now the gap to Finn and Lockdown less than a second now, so Lockdown will be in DRS of the Flying Finn. So he makes it nicely around the source there, and he's gained a 10th in all of that. He's started to pull away from Jason as well. I think there's 2 tenths gained there. Finn's lost 7 tenths to Matthias though, last time I looked. So Finn, again, he's struggling so much at the top of Eau Rouge there, and now in DRS is Lockdown, and he's closing down the Flying Finn. But he's not going to be close enough. Wow, he braked so much later in the Flying Finn. I was about to say he wasn't going to be close enough, but look how much he's closed here. Finn is struggling so much here. Can Lockdown hold it around the outside? Finn, no, he just takes that racing line here, but now Lockdown's started to switch back, and look, Flying Finn just backs out of it now, and we have a McLaren 1-2 around Spa. And, well, Finn is struggling so much here. I've never seen him back out of a move like that. This is serious, whatever's hampering his pace here. He's got no confidence at all. look how tiptoey he is around P1. It's so tail happy, his car, it seems. He's trying to catch oversteer everywhere. And Joe gets himself a 3-second time penalty there, but look, just look at the oversteer Finn's getting. This is pretty much undrivable for him. No wonder he's so slow compared to Lockdown. Lockdown's looking just handy. It's looking really, really stable for him, whereas you compare it to Finn, he's getting oversteer left, right and centre. And Jason's going to be closing him down in all of this. I think he's just paused the game to take a look at warnings there as the AI took over. But Jason's starting to close him down now. And I think Finn's got to be thinking of pitting soon. Look at the oversteer through Blanchimont here. He's going to be wanting to pit, change something on his setup, but well, the limited amount of things he can change, but maybe go on to a new set of tyres. And yes, he has no other option here. He's losing far too much time. He needs to pit and get a new set of tyres. And well, it'd be interesting to see what he goes on to. Simon goes past. Evo's also pitted as well. And well, it's the soft tyre. Well, no, it's not. It's the super soft tyre. No, it's not. It's the soft tyre for Flying Finn. Nice game. Evo also pits there, but yeah, Alonso's just set the fastest lap, 57.0 on the super soft. So it does seem like the super soft is the tyre to be on. But Flying Finn are on the softs. It's well, it's gonna be very interesting to see if these softs are any faster than the supers. If they last towards the end, I don't know. It'll be very interesting. But anyway, at the moment, Matthias seems to also be struggling on his ultra soft tyres, and Lockdown's closing him down. It's 2.1 seconds now. This is very, very interesting. Given the Lockdown's on the supers, what tyre is he going to go on when he needs to pit? He obviously can't choose another set of supers, despite them seeming to, you know, run pretty well. Does he go onto the ultras? Does he go onto a set of softs and hope that they seem to have a bit more pace than the ultras? If I was him, I'd take the supers as long as I could, as long as they've still got pace in them. But look, he's closing down Matthias. We could very well see Lockdown in the lead of this race very soon, and I'm guessing he's not going to need to pit anytime soon with these tyres, because the supers should surely last a long time. But look at Matthias, he's so slow in comparison. I can't actually believe what I'm seeing here. Matthias is holding the inside there, but the two McLarens battling for the lead here. Got Lockdown, he's just going to be very careful. Surely, around here is a little bit of oversteer through Blanchimont. Matthias backs out. Lockdown breaking into the bus stop, and he takes the lead from Matthias. And yet Matthias boxes in, so Lockdown assumes the lead there. And it's the actual net race lead. And Jason in P2 on the super soft tyre as well. So let's see where Matthias comes out in all of this. Let's see what tyre he goes on to. Surely he can make his supers last to the end now. And here he goes into the pits. Can't tell what tyre that is as his car disappears, and I can't change camera angle. I still cannot see what he's on. But he's coming out of the pits now. It's on the super soft tyres, and the Flying Finn just coming out of turn 1 there. As he has Alonso ahead of him as well, so he's Matthias has been undercut by both the South Launchers here. And well, if Alonso can keep this going, he might very well be able to undercut Lockdown. Simon on his soft still with that wing damage. He's managing to keep it pretty close to Jason in all honesty there. But Alonso's gone over the inside of Lake Holman there. And Finn on his softs here. Closing down Alonso, so he does seem to still be struggling though. It'll be very interesting to see if Matthias has got the pace on these supers like Lockdown did, and can close down the Flying Finn, but yeah, we've got Limitless in the chat saying the game is not good, and I do not disagree. It seems bizarre that it's raining and we're on dry tyres, and it's been raining for 9 laps solid and it hasn't given up raining, and we're still on dry tyres. You know, there's spray being kicked off by all the drivers and we're still on dry tyres. But anyway, does Lockdown choose to pit? No, he doesn't. He's going to continue, and he's got no reason to pit at the moment. He's comfortable on these tyres that he's on at the moment. And Jason, the gap to Lockdown, it's staying pretty consistent, about 2.7 to 3 seconds here. Simon is losing out a little bit to Jason here, as you'd expect with the wing damage at the flying fin, and with a 1:56 here. I think Lockdown needs to think about pitting pretty soon, because his last lap, I think there was a 2:00. So that's 4 seconds he's given up on that lap. And, well, unless his ultras at the end are somewhat decent in terms of how they hold up, he's not going to be able to maintain this position. But yeah, Finn has DRS now on Alonso. The gap is only half a second. It's going to be interesting to see if Matthias can close them all down. They seem to be running on very similar pace at the moment. Surprise is on softs, as is NLR Evo. Hamilton also on softs, Stone on softs, Joe on softs, Langman on softs, who's taking a look at the inside of Joe there. Two Renaults going at it. And Langman's going to attempt to switch back here. But that's not worked out, as he's lost a little bit of traction. The flying fin is now only 2/10 away from Alonso. So here they go through P1. Oh, and Finn's brakes kind of late there, locked up. Managed to slow the car down, pretty nice. And this is going to be ideal for Matthias. He needs to keep in touch and distance of these two if he wants an opportunity to win this race. So look how close Finn is at the moment. He's pushing Alonso around at the moment. Alonso's going to hold the inside here. I think he's going to back out just a little bit there. I think he has just lifted off just enough there. I think it's evident at the moment that Finn is the faster car on his fresher tyres. And braking into the bus stop here. Alonso can act as a rear gunner for Finn and hold off Matthias. So Jason and Simon are both into the pits here. I'm going to be very interested to see what tyres Jason's going to go on. You'd have to assume it's the soft tyre. A surprise, that's the fastest lap. Jason's of course got a 5-second stop-go penalty, unfortunately for him. So he puts on a set of the soft tyres and he's back out in P8 here. He's going to overtake Simon though, who had wing damage and needed to change that front wing. So it seems to me the people that pit early, like Alonso, have managed to undercut and gain a decent amount of time, but I think Lockdown's going to be struggling a lot now in terms of his pace. I want to take a look at his lap times. He's the only one to not have stopped. Yeah, he's run about 1:59 2-minute laps. The flying Finn is running 1:56, 1:57s. So yeah, the gap is only 10 seconds now, and I know the pit lane isn't particularly long around this track, but he's not going to see himself even in the top 5, top 6, I reckon, if he pits now. He's got no other choice. He has to pit, go onto the softs, because he's losing 3 to 4 seconds a lap, and he's not going to gain that back on the ultra softs at the end. So surely now he's going to know, he's going to see the gap coming down, and he's going to have to pit. Got Matthias is 3/10 behind Alonso here. And yeah, as I thought, Alonso's acted as that rear gunner, and Finn started to bolt away from Matthias at the moment. And I'm guessing at the moment Finn's going to be feeling a little bit more comfortable than he was at the start of the race now. He's probably adjusted to the conditions. But at the moment, Matthias not really with an opportunity to get past Alonso at the moment. Maybe into the bus stop if he carries the speed through Blanchimont. They're both flat out somehow on slicks in rainy conditions, but into the bus stop. Alonso is just far enough ahead for Matthias to not have an opportunity there, but he's very close. Out of the final corner there, Finn sets a 1:56.3 for the fastest lap there. Here comes Matthias. Does he take a look at the inside of La Source? No. Sensibly waits. Alonso goes wide though. And Matthias just waits to get on the power there. And Alonso is in rich, but interestingly Matthias was in lean for a little bit there, just giving Alonso a little bit of a gap so he can slipstream down the Campbell straight here. And there's a 3-second time penalty for Alonso. We saw him just go over the end of the curve there, at the top of Radion, and Matthias is a little frustrated here. You see him wiggling his wheel just a little bit there. As Alonso once again goes deep. This is one of the most frustrating things for Matthias. He just can't get past Alonso, and Alonso's making mistakes left, right and centre just in front of him, and it's costing him so much time to the flying Finn. But Matthias now up the inside of Alonso here, and I think Matiz is going to want to get past as quick as possible. Look at the surprise, he's right behind in all of this. So I want to take a look at Alonso's times because, well, he seems to be about a second or two off the pace of the Flying Finn, and that's evident by the gap now. It's 3 seconds. Matiz, who has gone wide at P1 and made a mistake there, and Alonso is going to be looking around the outside. Not going to be able to make that stick, and Hamilton retires from the race here. Just take a look at what's happened there. He's got front wing damage, so I think for him that was the end. But Lockdown is still going to be going. The gap to the Flying Finn is 5 seconds now, and he's almost lost an entire pit stop. So as Alonso retires, Eva retires, and they've had a big coming together there. Both of them without a wheel on the car, so that puts Jason up to P5 and all of that. Surprise up to P4. RG Matiz in third now, as he did get past both of those guys. But wow, that's not something you see very often. A double DNF there for those guys, but well, there's quite a few DNFs in this race now, isn't there? We've only got 8 runners left as Lockdown. It's time to come in. It's time to box. That should be a dead giveaway that these tyres are dead. I think he's just stretching it out to go onto ultras. I don't know why. It's very evident that the undercut was the best thing to do to pit early and go onto the softs, but hindsight's a wonderful thing, and it's different being out of the car than actually driving in it. But he's lost a pit stop. He's not going to win this race at the moment. Finn, with only 2.6 behind, Lockdown is now a pit stop behind. It's not... He should have pit ages ago, but, I mean... Let's hope for his sake that the Ultras are blindingly fast and that he can somehow bring this back. But if he pits now, I think he'll be out around... Well, not even around Jason. I think he'll be behind Jason, near Simon, so... I don't think he'll be with a chance of a podium, unfortunately, but yeah, the gap to the Flying Finn now only 1.4 seconds, and he's got no other choice now. He has to pit for ultras. If he pits for softs, then I'm going to throw something at him at the end of this race. Well, here he comes. Does he choose to pit? Nope. Still going. This is a good strategy. Got surprised 7 tenths behind RG. Be very interesting to see if he can close that down, but well, this is very interesting, isn't it? Lockdown is now only 4 tenths ahead of the Flying Finn, and this gap is rapidly closing down. I think Lockdown, it's only a matter of time before he gets overtaken on this lap. And yeah, Finn's still in DRS here of the Flying Finn. Sorry, of Lockdown. Not in DRS of himself. Lockdown moves to the inside, but he's going to have to just let Finn have that one. Lockdown does not have the grip that Finn does at the moment. And the Flying Finn takes the lead, as we so often hear. Lockdown in P2. You do wonder what's going through his head at the moment, because he's surely going to have to pit. You can't take the dries to the end. You have to use both compounds, despite it raining. He's got a box for ultras. Matiz in P3. He seems to have lost touch with the pace of the Flying Finn. The gap isn't what it was a few laps ago. He's seemingly just a little bit faster than Surprise at the moment on his softs. But with only 8 runners, there's not a whole lot of action going on at the moment. The question is, does Lockdown pit, or does he just stay out again? So, breaking into the bus stop. This is the question of tonight. Will Lockdown pit? And yes, he does. And he's hit the wall. Brilliant. So, going into the pits, what tyre is he going to go on? So Surprise goes past him, Jason's going to go past him quite easily. I think Simon will just be behind him as he comes out. So Lockdown has just disappeared and come out his garage, but he's onto the Ultras as the tyres walk themselves back into the pit garage there. He's on Ultras and he is so far behind the race lead. To think at one point he actually had the net race lead, and now he is, well, let's see the gap to the leader. He's 23 seconds behind the Flying Finn. He has lost himself an entire pit stop there, just from staying out too long. Well, far too long. So the race has died down a little bit now after everyone's made their pit stops. Surprise is only a second behind RG. And not much is happening. So, how are we doing, chat? What do we all think of the race so far? What do we think of the weather? What do we think of Lockdown's questionable strategy? And will it ever go to intermediates? So you're saying Lockdown can still get Jason? It's a possibility, 2.6 seconds. I mean, gets another penalty there. Surprise is only half a second off the back of Matiz here. But yeah, I don't think it's ever going to Winters. I think it's just going to stay as it is. And here we go, Surprise is now in DRS range of Matiz. Matiz moving to the inside there, moving back over to the racing line, and Surprise obviously not close enough. We're going to take a, well, keep an eye on the gap between Lockdown and Jason, just to see if it does close down, but I'm of the opinion that the Ultras were not the tyre to be on, and the Softs are actually the fastest tyre in these conditions. Let's see him through these corners now, see if he's slight. From here it looks relatively dry, doesn't it? It doesn't look like it's raining whatsoever, but ooh, that's a little bit of a wiggle there. Surprise now only 4/10 off the back of RG. And this will be very interesting if Surprise can get himself ahead of RG, because then we'll have a Mercedes 1-2 rather than the McLaren 1-2 that we had earlier on in the race. So things have really gone, well, changed quite dramatically in this race. I thought Finn was going to be absolutely nowhere at the end of this race, but after his pit he seemed to just get his head down and just get plugging away at those lap times, and he's currently in the lead by 4.5 seconds, and Matiz just seems to be struggling at the moment. I think in all of this, the Softs have proven to be the fastest tyre out of all of the compounds. The Super Softs following just closely behind that, but the Ultras seem to be awful, so... Well, it's going to be very interesting to see if Matiz can hold off Surprise. So breaking into the source now. Matiz ever so slightly wide there. Surprise looking for a good exit here. Is he going to try it? Do not go side by side, please. And he chooses to back out there. And surely now he'll be able to get past RG. He's going to have DRS. RG's going to defend the inside. Just a slight little bit of overspeed there for Surprise, and he is past RG, but they're going to be side by side here through Les Comps. RG trying to switch back here, but I think in all of that, Surprise is going to be past him. And here we go, Surprise should defend the inside there. Matiz are going to take a look. There's a little bit of contact there. There's a bit of a squeeze there on the apex, and they're still going to be side by side here through into No Name. Can RG hold it around the outside? Just managed to keep it side by side, both of them here. And surely RG's going to have to back. Oh, wow. Surprise cut back onto the racing line there and hit RG. Well, yeah, that was interesting there. He's just managed to keep it ahead. I think Matiz was going to back out of that anyway, but that was a little bit of a scary moment there. With the gap locked down to Jason, 1.9. It's come down to 1.6 now. It's come down a second in the last few laps, but again, the Ultras didn't seem to be the tyre of choice here. Finn comfortably out in the lead at the moment on his softs, just keeping on the track there at Blanchimont. Surprise coming through Blanchimont as well, as is Matiz. Doesn't seem to have the pace on these supers compared to the soft running Mercedes. Jason in fourth there, getting slowly closed down. You've got a... oh no. Lockdown spun. There's what the yellow flags are for, and he's got front wing damage. Oh, and it's so badly affecting him there. He's going to have to box, you'd assume. He can't keep this going to the end. The gap to Simon is 12.5 seconds, but... and he does choose to box. I think it's pretty clear there that the Ultras weren't the tyre to be on. And unfortunately, I don't like to say this, but Lockdown has bottled it. He bottled it with strategy, and now he's bottled it into the wall, and now he's boxing. And he's going to put on more Ultra Softs. But in all of that, Simon's going to come out ahead of him. I think Lockdown's actually, yeah, coming out the pits now. I don't think he'll be ahead of, no, I don't think he'll be behind Joe, but, well, what could have been for Lockdown today? He led the race for a good portion of it. A portion that he maybe shouldn't have led, because he should have pitted, but now he's down second last, and with nothing really to fight for, other than maybe fastest lap. It's a real shame. I honestly thought he was in with a great chance of a podium, maybe even a win. But that's an experience for him to learn from. Of course, these are very unique conditions, and it's not something, unless you've come across them before, that you'll actually know what to do in them. Obviously, we saw some drivers like Langman and Reynolds boxing for Inters. They clearly weren't the right choice. And some of the guys not knowing that, wow, I got some oversteer there. Not knowing that the harder tyres are actually the fastest in these conditions. Matiz is losing a couple of tenths each lap to Surprise, and when I thought he was going to basically win the race in the early stages, it looks like he's only going to be able to hold on for P3 at the moment. Yeah, unless there are some sort of late punctures. I mean, some guys with their relatively early boxing have maybe run their tyres a little bit towards the puncture range, but you'd assume softs can comfortably last towards the end, and if anything, it's going to be the super soft guys you're going to have to worry about. But again, there are pretty huge gaps throughout the field. There's really not much to talk about at the moment, but well, it's been an interesting race, but it's inevitably died down. As Kyle Mitchell leaves the session there. And well, let me know who you thought driver of the day was. As you've got nothing else going on, have a little vote in the chat. I so wanted it to be Lockdown. I really did. But for me, I'm going to have to choose Surprise, I think. If I can see how many places they gained, that would be nice. I can't. I don't think. I can. Oh, Surprise is getting 13 positions. It's a slam dunk drive of the day, that is. I did think he sort of came out of nowhere and all of that, but I think definitely he's had a sort of quiet race where everyone else has sort of had different strategies and been struggling on their tyres, and He's kept his head down, and he's going to get a P2 out of all of that. So I think my driver of the day at the moment, as it stands, if he doesn't bottle it, is going to be Seiyariu. I mean, Finn's done good. Obviously, at the moment he's going to win the race, but he really struggled early on. He was overtaken by Matiz, and Matiz started to pull away. But I guess due to how the strategy played out, Lockdown put himself out of that, and Matiz, I guess, carried on a little bit too long as well. So, well, yeah, Matiz has dropped off quite a lot now for Seiyariu. It's 2.5 seconds now, and he's just going to have to hold on for this podium here. Jason's had a solid drive in fourth. I think he was somewhat matching Lockdown when Lockdown was out in the lead there, so the pace was similar. But of course he's had some stop-go penalty in the pits, that held him up a little bit. But again, he's driven a solid race to gain 9 positions. Same as Simon. He's still got that front wing damage, despite pitting, so either the game hasn't changed it for him, or that's more likely the case than he hasn't selected to change the wings. So take a look at Stone. I think Stone qualified pretty far up, didn't he? P4 he qualified, according to this, as Finn says the fastest lap there, so the tyres are still holding together, or it's getting drier, who knows. It doesn't seem to be the case though, does it? And of course we've got Lockdown. I talked plenty about his antics this race, and Joe, who's just got himself another penalty, will be rounding out the grid, who had a really solid qualifying in P3 and just sort of dropped down from there. So the guys are on the penultimate lap at the moment, and again there's not really much to talk about. Ah yeah, one thing to talk about, yeah, Stu has left the league, so he's joined Martin in the pad drivers that have pulled out of the league, and it's unsurprisingly due to the game and the way it works, and the lag and the slipstream glitches, and I guess probably this weird weather that we've got at the moment as well. You could throw that in the list of things that shouldn't happen in the game. As Lockdown gets a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, unfortunately, with this league, we're getting dwindling numbers as we get to the midpoint of the season, which is a shame to see. We always like to have as many people as we can, but I think, yeah, with a game that has its problems like this, you can't really blame people for wanting to not play it, because it can be so frustrating when you put everything into it and some sort of game glitch happens. But 5 Finns at a 155.8 there. So I'm not sure if it's drying up, or given the fuel's going down, he's just found some more pace. But yeah, the only guy into the 55s at the moment. And now it's his final lap, so I think we're going to ride on board with our race winner and championship leader, and he's going to extend his lead in the championship, which should be over Matiz now by 10 points, and you'd assume it's going to be pretty unsurmountable from here on. Finn rarely ever has bad races. He's never finished out of the points, and last season he never finished off the podium, so he's a very consistent driver in his finishing positions, and he seems to always be up there in contention for the win every single race. But he's coming onto the back straight now. And the gap to Surprise is 8 seconds somehow. I thought it was a lot smaller than that. But Stone has passed Simon in all of this. We've actually had an overtake happen. Somehow, with Simon's wing damage, he's at compromised pace compared to Stone. Where Finn has managed to spin out the final corner. And he's going to cross the line to just win ahead of Surprise, only 2 seconds in it. I don't think he intended to do that. I'd be, if he did, I think that would be very, very rude as Surprise has lost his wheel. But here comes Jason finishing in P4 here. Stone's going to finish in P5 unless he gets overtaken by Simon, which I don't think is going to happen. So Stone coming around into the bus stop. Clipping his apexes nicely. And there we go, Simon going to finish in P6. Lockdown, disappointing result for him given where he was in the race. He's going to finish P7, pick up 6 points. And over the line he goes. We've still got Joe cutting about at the back of the grid. The back of the 8-man grid. And Alonso leaves the session there. Again, I think we can get some interviews in because Matiz is already in the ready for interview box. Unbelievable. So I'm going to wait until Joe's finished before we get any interviews started. But here we go, Joe crossing the line to finish in P8 there. So we're going to get some interviews going now, once we've finalised these results, as you can see there. Finn first, Surprise in second, RG in third, Jason fourth, Stone fifth, Simon sixth, Lockdown seventh, and Joe in eighth. A couple of penalties here and there. But anyway, let's try and get our podium interviewees into the box. So we should have Matiz with us now.
Yep.
How are you doing? How was that race for you? Obviously you were leading for a good amount of it, but
I have no words. I don't know what to say. The state of this game is so bad. Like in the garage, it's had light rain for the entire race. At the start of the race on the grid, it said the same thing, and then it puts us all on ultras, and it just. Well, it's been raining for what? How long was the race? Like
22 laps?
43 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's not gone to inters yet. It's a fucking piss take. I'm so pissed off. Because also, if I just pitted 1 lap earlier and went to the soft instead of supers, I'm 90% sure I would have just won this. But, you know. Yeah, I'm just extremely pissed off right now.
Yeah. Maybe we can get someone else in the box as well. No one else is in ready for interview. But what did you think when you saw Cryo Lockdown, your teammate, just charging through the field, getting past the flying Finn, closing you down? What was going through your head then? Yeah,
of course he's my teammate, so we're in the same party. So I was like, hello, Mitchell, what are you doing? What's going on there? So yeah, well, I was surprised. I mean, well done to him, definitely. He started down at like outside the top 10 maybe even. I don't know what happened on the first lap either. It was complete carnage behind me. But yeah, I don't know. My brain just completely switched off during this race. Nothing made sense anymore.
Yeah, it's one of these situations where you actually don't know what to do. Yeah. I had one in sprint mode yesterday, I think, round here. It was the exact same conditions. The dries were faster than the inters, but because it was
It
from
just
road,
doesn't
I
make
wouldn't know
sense.
that the hard tyre was faster than the softer tyre.
I mean, I've had it before that, like for the majority of the race, it was, um, it was raining, but at one point it would actually switch over, like really, really late. And I thought this was gonna happen, so that's the reason why I went on to Supers, thinking that I would at least get inters, but no, 45 minutes straight, raining, no inters. GG, great game.
Yeah, it's very, very unusual. Yep. Still not got anyone else in for an interview yet, but next time out we're at Monza. Is that a track that you like?
No idea. Yeah, I don't know. I've done like 5 laps for the esports qualifier event, then just quit because it was bad. And I don't think I've ever done another lap round it. Usually I get to get like a practice race in STS, which is on Monday, but I'm missing that as well. So I don't know. I don't particularly like the track, to be honest. It's so boring.
It's got those interesting sausage curbs that if you touch them you'll go flying.
That as well. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, now I'm really not looking forward to it.
So I think we can get Finn in for an interview now. He just asked me if he wants to come in, and I've said yes. So he should be on very soon. I think after that, that'll be it. So if you've got any questions in the chat that you want to ask Finn while we wait for him, let me know, and I'll be happy to ask him. Or you can ask Matthias here while we've got him in as well. Hopefully Finn will turn up soon. Would be nice. Okay, yeah. Okay, we've got Finn in, but before I get him in, I want to ask you, Matthias, what were you thinking when you had Alonso ahead of you, and he was sort of making mistakes in front of you, and Finn was just getting away? What was going through your head then?
Rage.
Yeah, I could tell by your steering wheel down the straight.
I mean, that was for the slipstream. I had slipstream and DRS, but I wasn't gaining anything. So I don't know what's up with that in this game as well. Looking back, that wouldn't have mattered though. Like the soft tire was so much better than Supers. My tires just died off at the end, so I couldn't. I tried my best, but I couldn't keep surprising behind me either. So yeah.
Okay, we've got Finn in now, so congratulations on your race win. But what do you think of that race? What do you think of the weather and the tyre strategy, and how was it for you?
Well, the first 5 laps or so, I had the Formula E car sound. And I paused the game like 5 times and unpaused it, and it wouldn't fix. Turns out you actually have to press that race director, come back out of it, and then come back out of the game, and then it fixes. So yeah, for the first 5 laps, I was just trying to survive, and nothing I can do because Matthias just pulling away. I can't like keep up with him with that sound. And yeah, when for the first 6-7 laps, when it didn't go to inters, I thought it's never gonna go, because 6-7 laps, just the whole race was gonna be light rain. So if it doesn't go wet for like the first 6-7 laps, it's never going to go wet. So going by STSF1 Hungary, I knew the harder the compound, the better it does in damp conditions. So I just went on the softs and yeah, just tried to just survive, to be honest. And I knew, to be honest, I told Sonich that he would have won if he went on the softs instead of supers. He would have won because the undercut he had, and he would have had track position, and he's pretty good in his condition. So yeah, I was lucky to win. I'd say I'm lucky to win, but last season, same track here, it cost me the win. The same type of system, weather system. So Yeah, all I can say to Matiz is that I understand how he feels, and I honestly do. He knows, he already knows what I feel about the game, my thoughts on the game, so don't need to repeat that. But yeah, like, yeah, all I can say is sorry to him, I guess, and move on to the next race.
Yeah, so with the next race, being at Monza, is that a track you think you can do well at? Obviously, you've won that race season 12, I think, and very, very close to winning in season 13, so that's a good track for you?
Yeah, Monza seems to be really good for me. I think the chicanes, I really enjoy them. But overall, the track, it's not my favorite, to be honest, but I seem to do well there, so just looking forward to it.
Alrighty, well, that'll be it, guys. Thanks for watching, and you can catch all the streams on this new Apex Online Racing official channel. This is where all the streams will be from now on, not on my own channel. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week for Monza.